Welcome to Drive Culture. I'm Jonathan Rivers, and today we have the Honda Zero SUV. And I'm going to tell you all about this first Zero Series model launching in 2026. So we'll go over the exterior, the interior, the powertrain, and well, of course, today we won't be taking it for a drive as it's just a prototype, but we definitely look to bring that to you in the future. So if this is content you're after or you're new to the channel, please be sure to click that bell to subscribe to come back for more. And with that, let's get after it. So let's talk about this Honda Zero SUV. Now, Honda recently showed two new prototypes. One is the Honda Zero Saloon, their whole flagship model, and we have a video of that up there, so be sure to watch that and check that out if you haven't seen it already. But it's this one here, the SUV, that's really going to be the launch model for this new sub-brand called Zero Series. So what is Zero Series, you ask? Well, let's get right into it. So Zero Series really represents a reboot for Honda, right? They basically are calling this the second founding of the company, starting from zero, right? With a new design, a new platform, new technology throughout. So this is really a big step moving forward. And while this is still a prototype version, it's very close to what you'll see for production when it goes on sale in 2026. So we don't have pricing yet. There's not going to be a lot of high level specs and features as they haven't been released, but we're going to do a full exterior walk around and cover the interior so you get an idea of the future direction for Honda and this Zero Series EV. All right, guys, here we are with the Honda Zero SUV, and we're going to do a full exterior walk around so you can get an idea of this new styling direction for Honda and this Zero Series EVs that are launching. And this is actually the first one that's going to launch, right? So this kind of compact SUV, knowing that SUVs are really popular, this is a good model to start things off with. And then eventually there's going to be several other models that come, including that flagship saloon. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look here. So you can see it's a really clean sheet design. Again, this is in a color that they call moonlit white pearl. Now, I know it comes across as kind of gray here in the video, but some of that is simply just the lighting here in the studio. But this really is like a white color, but has a lot of pearlescence in it, which is showing off some of that silvers and gray maybe you're seeing here on the camera. But what's really cool is up front, they have this unique grille, and it's blacked out right now, but there's some stuff hiding behind there. In fact, there's actually 64 LED lights that are hidden behind there that expose that grill. So let's go ahead and turn it on and see what it looks like. Pretty cool, right? You see all the LEDs dancing, you see the H logo there. And beyond that, you can see those are essentially like what would be the kind of like daytime running lights. So below that, there's actually some headlights and like kind of lower beam lights, and you can see as you cycle through. So that that's the cool thing about with all these LED individual signatures, you can have all these different lighting schemes underneath. So pretty cool there. The other cool thing is like, what about turn signals, right? Or, ultimately your hazard lights. Well, this is what it looks like, right? One, two, and then this is with your hazards on. So it's kind of cool that it's still using the same LED elements to just kind of change color, right? And signify that you got your turn signal or your hazard lights on. So I think that is pretty darn cool. But let's go ahead and just kind of take a look at some of the detailing. Now, like I said, this is a prototype, so you're not going to find real features yet. Like you're not going to see all the parking sensors and camera equipment and things like that, but you do get a pretty good idea of the overall design. And let us know your guys' thoughts and comments down below. What do you think of this? Is it a little too futuristic? Is it right on, where it needs to be, given that this car is launching in 2026? That's not that far away. But you can see here, again, it does have a very futuristic look and design to it. Let's make our way to the side here. So you can see that it has a really kind of like fastback look and kind of just a unique proportion to it, right? So really doesn't look like anything else on the road, right? And, kind of working your way back from the front to rear, has a very, very low roof line, right? And it actually tapers off even further in the back, which takes you to a pretty dramatic rear view. So we'll get to that here in a second. So let's go ahead and take a look. So obviously, again, like I said, Many times it's a prototype, but this gives you an idea that they're working with some pretty high performance wheels and tires, guys. So this is actually 265 40R21s up front, and these are Michelin Sport EV exclusive tires, right? Because you need that to help get the best range and efficiency. So we make our way to the side here. Now you'll see, and we'll show this on the interior. These are these like little camera mirrors, right? So not actual real mirrors, but literally cameras that would project your side views. Now, the only problem is in the U.S., those aren't actually available on any vehicle because of government regulation. But certain markets like Europe and Asia can actually get that feature. So here you'll see they kind of got these like flush door handles, front and rear. They've got that black treatment around the windows, black along the fenders, and then here on the side and also towards the rear. Now in the rear here, you can see same setup, 265 40R21, these Michelin Pilot Sport EV. So square setup, being an SUV. But like I said, it's this part here, basically what would be the D pillar. It's really tapered off and just an interesting design. So I'm going to kind of swivel around so you can see the rear. So here we go, guys. Look at that from that 3/4. So really, really unique design. If you guys remember, they first showed this concept called the Space Hub. Well, this isn't exactly a successor to that, but it carries a lot of the same styling cues as that model had. And here you can see in the back, it actually has, well, yeah, I mean, it's a rear glass you can see through, so it's not like completely blanked out. And then it has that like nice Honda font below it, this huge kind of like almost U-shaped LED kind of lighting element, and then some elements down below, kind of a big, black diffuser. So just like the front, real quick, we'll show you what the lighting elements look like. So essentially, this is with the lights when you turn them off. So you kind of see it fade away. I think that actually looks really cool, right? It's like kind of blacked out with that really nice big black Honda font. And then go ahead and turn that on. And that looks pretty cool starting up. And then just like the front, you can see these are what, the turn signals and stuff look like. So there's one on the left, one on the right, and then here we'll have a go hazard style. So really premium LED lighting elements. I mean, that's kind of one of the signature design cues of this new Honda Zero series. So that looks pretty premium. Um, Later on, we'll cover the cargo because this one we can actually open up and show you what the cargo space looks like. So just kind of quickly make our way to the other side, the driver's side of the vehicle. Again, you're going to have a lot of the same styling treatments as you have on the other side. But one thing to point out is the charge port. Now, the door doesn't open, but essentially that's what would be the charge port. And Honda's already said that they're going to move to the NACS charge port as a standard port on the car. So that's a pretty big deal. And so, yeah, again, let us know your guys' thoughts and comments down below. What do you think of the exterior styling? Is it right on par? Do you love it? Is it too futuristic for you? I'm liking the style, and I think you guys are even going to like the interior. So next, let's go ahead to hop inside to check that out. All right, guys, here we are inside the Honda Zero SUV prototype. And it is a crazy place to be, right? This is nothing like anything else on the market today. There's, a really lot of interesting design cues, styling cues, and really cool features in here as well. So let's jump right into it. So first and foremost, I'll kind of talk about the seats, man. The seats in the seating position are really good, and they're just a really like kind of unique design. Again, this is the Zero series, so Honda's essentially starting over. So the seat design is like nothing they've ever done. It actually has that new like small typeface Honda font, like embossed into the seat. The pattern for the perforations, just the overall shape of the seats. It's normally I'll start with the steering wheel, which is obviously pretty crazy on this thing too, but it really is the seats. They feel great. They're supportive, and like I said, you have excellent visibility throughout this vehicle. So speaking of visibility, we're going to show you too, but I mean, man, there's a ton of glass to your side, so great visibility there in front of you. And the way that it kind of continues up, like it just feels like you're encapsulated in glass. And then we'll get into the panoramic moonroof once we hop into the second row. So next, let's talk about the steering wheel. Now, if you guys are familiar, this is a yoke steering wheel, meaning there's no top half to the steering wheel. This is how it comes, or at least that's how it is in the prototype. It's ultra simple, has that new Honda logo in there. And no, that's not like a logo from the 60s or 70s, although that was an inspiration for it. It's essentially an all new logo. And here it's kind of a dark chrome finish, so it looks really good. Um, there's just these two kind of like haptic, touch pads over here that would control some of the, the infotainment. But it's a really interesting design, right? And so simply you have your turn signals off to the left. And this is your gear selector here. So again, that's here to help kind of clean up this area and not have to deal with the push button style shift or a mechanical lever. It's here, which frees up a lot of space. So down here, you have, again, like I said, it's just a prototype. So we'll see what makes it to production, but you have what would be like a wireless charging pad, cup holders, things like that down here. It's a really nice kind of like faux, like almost forged carbon like material here. This interior color is like a nice off-white, almost like a light gray color. So that looks really premium as well. But let's just talk about this. This whole centerpiece here is really the star of the show. And part of it is Honda actually created their own operating system from the ground up, developed by them, and they called it Asimo. So if you guys know what Asimo is, well, 20 years ago, Honda got into the humanoid robotics game and they created Asimo. If you don't know who he is, go look on Google. He's like one of the coolest robots ever. And essentially now he's living in your car. He's going to be the name of this operating system. And we'll just go over some of the cool things that this system can do. Obviously, prototype again, so there's going to be more features and things that we'll get later. But for now, you can actually demo some of the controls of this new operating system. So, like I said, there's these kind of cool screens off to the side, which would operate the side cameras if we got them in the US. Next to it here is a huge digital instrument cluster that's super simple in design, but really high resolution, really good graphics, really nice, easy readout. Here in the center is a really big touchscreen, right? And so this is essentially the main way to operate all the functions. And so we'll show you on B-roll how this all looks, but it's really good. You got, very nice map that is high resolution navigation. My understanding is that, there's still going to be opportunities for like having wireless, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So you can still use your own phone connectivity, but it looks like they've really stepped up the game for their embedded navigation and menu layout here. So you can kind of cycle through these like tiles over here, which is really cool. Pretty much like work your way through all of these different settings. And, really, like I said, it shows you things like your climate control, and it brings up this really cool interior that shows like the air blowing onto you, and you can like cycle through heated steering wheel, ventilated and heated seats, all these functions to this really high res graphic. Also, there's great music tiles, and you can customize and move all that around. When the tiles come up, it's going to show you really nice album artwork. And my understanding is that it can even link to the ambient interior color, which is really nice. Up here, you got this whole drive mode situation, which essentially allows you to cycle through your drive modes. Now, there's a snow mode, there's a econ mode, and there's also like a comfort mode. And then the specific like SUV, there's even a trail mode. So we'll see, maybe there's some off-road intentions, right? Or some capability based on having that style of drive mode. And then lastly, what's really cool is there's kind of like this environment mode. And this really allows you to change the overall look and feel. We'll show you what that looks like because that changes the lights, the colors, the music, the ambiance, and it allows you to be in just kind of a relaxed position. If you're just wanting to chill out, you're waiting for your kids while they're playing, sports outside, you can be inside in your kind of serene environment and really be filled in that ambiance there. So that's really, really cool. The other thing about this, and we can't really demo for you today, is Honda partnered with Helm.ai. So that is a AI company that creates this software where essentially the AI is always learning. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be prompted and fed all this information. So what that's going to do is open up a next level of AI functionality in the car, meaning it'll be able to be predictive. and recognize people and what they're after, and like based on, you know, just everything. So they're going to be able to customize the lights, the music, the drive mode based on, you know, how you're feeling when you get in the car. So there's going to be a lot of cool things there that will also be able for upgrades via over-the-air updates. So that is really, really sweet. Last thing I'll talk about, of course, they have a cool thing like a digital rear view mirror here. But again, you still actually have visibility outside the back. So really, really cool stuff there. So next, let's go ahead and hop in the rear. All right, guys, here we are in the rear of the Honda Zero SUV prototype. And man, is there a lot of space back here. I mean, it's really hard to imagine given the proportions on the outside and how low that roof line is. But inside, it's super spacious. And part of that is this is a new EV architecture that Honda developed on their own. They were able to make thin, you know, light battery packs, push it really far down, which helps with the packaging. You have almost virtually a flat floor design here, but I mean, just headroom for days. Again, I'm 5'10". I've got knee room for days. Very, very easy to get my feet up under the seat. I mean, this is super comfortable. It's a true 5-passenger family vehicle. Great space, nice armrest. It's just a really good place to be. And now I know some of this stuff doesn't fold out yet, but they'll have eventually a center armrest back here. Looks like this could even be controls for your HVAC and climate back here as well. But just a really, really cool seat design. And what you can also tell is from the door lining is like it kind of connects to the seat here. We'll show you again what that looks like a little bit closer, but that's a really, really cool design. And there's even these like small windows back here, which help from like having that kind of claustrophobic feeling. And as you look in the back, you can also tell that there's some pretty good cargo space back there. So we're gonna have to check that out in just one sec. The last thing I want to talk about is this glass roof, guys. You know, it is super long and wide, and it actually stretches behind the headrest here. So it really gives you this full sense of just, you know, you can see everything outside. So that's pretty cool. So like I said, a lot of space back here in the cargo. So next, let's go ahead and check out the cargo space. All right, next, let's go ahead and talk about the cargo space of this Honda Zero SUV. So one of the first things I want to point out is, like I said, I'm 5'10", but you can tell how much like taller I am than the rear of the vehicle. What's really interesting is not only is there just a low roof profile overall, but as it makes its way to the rear, once you get past those rear seats, it really tapers off. Like I normally can't just, you know, touch the top of the roof of an SUV like this or get to the other side. It's really interesting how it comes down, and like I said, it has a really, really unique design. And whether this makes it to production or not, I'm not sure. But one really cool way to open up the hatch here is you actually hold down over the zero, over the O in Honda, and this is how the tailgate goes up. And once it's up, it reveals a lot of space. I think with having that low roof line, you might have been like, well, how much space can you fit back here? Well, it has a really unique cutout. Now you gotta, you know, watch your head getting under here, but this cutout space is really high. And that means you're gonna have good cargo space back here. Also means you've got 60/40 folding rear seats. So you push those down to reveal a lot more space. And also you have some hidden storage as well. So what's cool is this area here reveals like a parcel shelf, has a little bit of cubby, and it's on both sides. So you got extra storage space there. And while it doesn't lift up here, my understanding is there's going to be additional underfloor storage down there as well. So lots of space back here, some pretty deep cutouts back here. You could easily fit, you know, a set of golf clubs back there, no problem. So really good packaging for the cargo. So next, let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain. All right, next, let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain of this Honda Zero SUV. Now, to be fair, not a lot of details have been shared just yet. So we'll definitely have to come back once this thing gets closer to production. But like I said, that's the real story here, is that this is the first Honda Zero Series model to launch in 2026. And this car is actually going to be built in Ohio, right? So Honda for the last few years has been prepping their factories with new lines to build EVs. They've partnered with LG to build batteries there as well. So all that's going to come together to bring these vehicles to life. And so what we know is it's going to be Honda brand's first architecture with this new EV architecture that was from the ground up. And it's really going to allow for great driving performance, great efficiency. All we know now is that the estimated driving range will be 300 miles or more for pretty much the entire Zero Series lineup. So that's kind of the bar minimum moving forward. But you can imagine that there'll probably be a multitude of different motor configurations and things like that. But again, we don't have that information yet. So once we get it, we'll be sure to bring it to you. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video. All right, guys, that's a wrap. What did you think of the Honda Zero SUV? Is it as cool as that flagship Honda Zero Saloon? If you haven't already watched that video, be sure to check that one out as well. And again, if you like EVs and you like futuristic concepts and prototypes like this, please let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. And again, if you've joined us before, thank you so much. But if you're new to the channel, please be sure to click that bell to subscribe to come back for more. Thanks, and we'll see you at the next episode.